Hey everyone, my name is Shelly, and today I'm going to do a short tutorial on how to make the spring and Easter wreath like this on part of the Dollar Tree cooling rack. First thing you want to do when you get your rack to modify it, I usually use 5 rungs. I just count down my 5 and then clip it off to the size that I want with the wire clippers all the way across. I usually use 5 rows depending on the weight of the mesh. Some mesh is really thin, like this mesh here is very, very thin, so it'll need more support. Thicker mesh, like this, some tends to hold up better, doesn't need as much support, but generally I use the 5 rungs to work off of. You go ahead and save the rest that you didn't use for your next project or your next wreath. So what you're going to do is, after you get that taken care of and you decide what you're going to use, for this one we're going to do just a little bit different. I didn't have time to go find that exact bunny, so I went to the Dollar Tree and I picked up this sign, and I picked up this sign from the Dollar General. I don't like this, so I pulled this off, and I also cut away this sign so I could use this at the top of the wreath, and this is the sign at the bottom. I did go ahead and kind of jazz them up, I guess you'd call it, a little bit. On the back of the carrot, I extended the jute rope so it'll fit at the bottom. The rope that was on it was too short. I just hot glued it to the back and then kind of held it down with nothing fancy, just felt. And this, I went ahead and replaced that paper stem, I guess, a carrot stem, with, these are at the Dollar Tree as well, back where they sell the succulents, and just added up. Looks a little bit, to me, better than the paper. And then for the bunny's face, I went ahead and pulled off that burlap looking bow and used the same ribbon that I used to make the bow that's going to go in the center of the wreath when we get to that point. For this wreath, I used 6 different colors of deco mesh. I used 10 inches, cut at 14-inch lengths. So each length, or each roll, each piece of mesh needs to be cut at 14 inches. So your typical, use your cutter, cut it at 14 inches, and set it aside. I go ahead, I cut all my mesh and get it all ready to go. That way I can work nonstop, don't have to cut, go back, cut ribbon and go back. These are the ribbons that we're going to use. I've already got one bundle done. I've got another bundle yet that I'll put together to show you guys. They're already cut. I do have the length that I used for each one, and I'll give you that later on in the video. Bear with me. This is the first time I've ever done a tutorial, so I'm sure it's going to be long-winded and probably pretty boring. So here we go. Like I said, I pre-cut all my mesh, and I did all of my bundles. I'll go ahead and roll one bundle for you guys so you can see it. And then to make this go quicker, like I said, I've already pre-made the bundles that I'm going to use on this wreath. You take your mesh, your 14-inch piece that you cut, and this is actually fresh picked mesh. I bought this at Joann's. All the mesh that I'm using tonight come from Joann's. The snowball mesh that's in this white here, and then the pink that's stuck to it here, are also from Joann's, and they are Bright Ideas. It's 10-inch mesh, and it comes in 30 feet rolls. So once you get your mesh cut, you'll want to take and lay out one end, weight it down so you can work with this end. And you want to take and just roll it under. And make sure when you roll from the ends to keep it tight. I just go ahead and roll until I'm about to the center point. I try and keep it tight. And then I use a clip to clip it. And turn it around and you do the same thing on this side. If you don't roll from the ends and you roll from the center, what happens is your rolls get really loose and they're open, and you don't want that. You want them tight. On this wreath, that kind of helps keep that unfinished edge hidden, and so where you don't look like you have frays everywhere. You're going to have frays with deco mesh no matter what you do. I've tried cutting it with a wood burner. I've never tried a bag sealer. I know that when I used the wood cutter, it smelled really bad. It smoked, probably because I wasn't doing it right. However, I don't. I just go ahead and do it this way. A lot of times I will, before I roll my mesh, I'll take a lighter and just this piece here, this end where it's bound, and just kind of burn that little edge. You don't want to do too much, especially on the ones that are have the little lines here. Sometimes if you get too close or hold it too long, you'll start a little bit of fire there. You just sort of put it out and keep on going. Again, I'll show you how to roll this piece of mesh, and then we're going to go ahead and start putting our bundles on so we can move this along and get you guys making a wreath. Oops. I apologize. I have two parrots, and I kind of bribed them before we started with peanuts, but I guess they're still going to squawk for us while we're doing this. So I apologize, but yelling at them just makes it worse. Oh. Again, just roll to the center, and when I get to that center piece, I kind of like to fold it tight and fold it in. I'm sorry, you probably couldn't see that. But when you get to the center piece, you've got your other piece before you release it, just roll it tight and roll it into each other and to where it meets. You can always go back and adjust your rolls until you get it to where it lays flat or it's not. If the ends are sticking out, you can just poke them back in there, and that way it kind of keeps it from looking unkept. I'll go ahead and do this one since I wasn't paying attention and watching what I was doing. That way I don't think you saw that one being rolled. Again, just start, tuck that end under, just kind of rolling it as you work along. Once you get it all tucked under, just roll from the ends. It's about to the center. Do that tight tuck. If you don't, I don't know, I never have enough clips, or I can never find them. If you don't have it, just weight it down with your scissors or your clippers or whatever you've got handy, just to weight it down so it doesn't roll up on you while you're trying to work. Okay. So once you get all three of them, see, here's one that's the end sticking out. Once you get all three of those pieces of mesh rolled after they're cut and rolled, I use 3 pieces of mesh per bundle. So once I get them all rolled, sometimes you have to see which way they lay. Sometimes they lay anti-goggling, then when you put them in the bundle, they get all, it just looks messy. Let's see here. Kind of make sure that all of your back and your fronts are all in pointing the same direction. See, the back of my rolls are all there. and then the front. I use the fuzzy chenille stems cut in half. Just put one around the center, come around the back, squeeze it up, and tighten it as tight as you can. 2 or 3 twists, and there's your bundle. Okay. So we're going to take this piece of the rack. We're going to take our first bundle, which we've already got rolled. We've got a chenille stem. And we're going to take, I always work on this middle rung. That way, the 2 upper rungs and the 2 lower rungs, which are right, you can see, kind of give the mesh a little bit of support, kind of holds it up, kind of help give it the shape of the wreath. Just go ahead, put it around the center rung, pull it tight, and give it a twist. They might slide around for a little bit. The more you put on and the fuller the wreath gets, the more they'll stay in place. And I'll show you here in a little bit how you can anchor this off right here with a chenille stem and to keep it from sliding. So that'll be our first bundle. And then these are the colors I chose for the second bundle. Do the same thing. Kind of pull these up and out of the way. You can just get right in there again on that center row with your chenille stem. Pull it up tight and give it a couple of twists until you get it good and tight. So we'll just keep repeating that until we get our, usually use 8 to 9 bundles of 3. So this is really a pretty inexpensive wreath. If you actually have the mesh and ribbon on hand, you're only using 9 bundles at the most. So 27 pieces of mesh. So even if you only had one color of mesh, you're still going to get an entire roll out of one, or an entire wreath out of one roll of mesh. So here we'll finish this off. If I quit talking and start working, we'll get done faster. So this 4th row, or this 4th bundle of mesh, I'm going to put right here on this cross piece here, so it'll kind of anchor, it'll hold these in place and keep it from sliding around too much. You guys probably can't see it very well because the position that it's in. And right now it just looks like a floppy mess, but here in just a little bit I'll show you how we're going to pull it in and give it that shape. It's almost an oval. Okay, so now we've got 4 bundles on, and you can see how it's starting to kind of get its shape. I mean, you're going to have to pull your bundles up and shape it as always. But when you pull this piece right here in, see how it pulls all that mesh up in and around. Watch out, I got it hooked up here on this piece. So it starts giving you that look of that oval on that side. So this is where I'll show you how to put that piece in that'll anchor it off. I just go ahead and run my pipe cleaner around that center rung, pull them to where I want it, give it that look at that end, twist it off, Cisco. And then you just pull it down, come in and around your frame a couple of times just to get it good and tight so it holds off. That piece, that little lump there, if you can tie off around that, it kind of keeps it from sliding. And then just take the other side and do the same thing. Bring it through and around a couple of times just to make sure it's good and tight. And then I just go ahead and bring it around the front, tie it. So see, you can see how it's just tied here, up and around, and then brought back here and tied off. And then I just go ahead and just clip my stems off as I go. It's a mess. And one less thing that you've got to worry about catching your mesh on and cutting your hand up on this wires from the stems. So see how it's starting to take the shape now that we pulled this in and then braced it so the frame kind of supports it here. Okay, so we need pink. Just keep adding your mesh bundles. So this one will be the first one you start into the next section. Here. Just keep pulling that mesh up out of the way so it kind of lays and keeps the fullness. I apologize. I guess he wanted you guys to hear his singing and playing of the cowbell as well as everyone else in the house at 1:37 a.m. Cisco. It also helps when you're putting the bundle on, if you go ahead and stick your finger right there, sorry, watch what I'm doing, in the center, and then push it down. That way you're getting that mesh all the way, that mesh bundle all the way up to the wire so you can crank it down. Well, we're almost done putting our mesh on. Again, this will be your third bundle in this second section here. So this one we're going to tie off to that center piece where it meets again. It's got that cross frame to keep it good and tight right there. What did I do with my last bundle? Well, I guess we're going to end up cutting a bundle. So evidently didn't cut enough. Okay. Which one do I need? Okay, so my mistake. I wasn't quite as prepared as I thought I was. Again, where's my cutter? Cut it 14 inches. Sorry. I thought I had everything ready to go so we could just click through here, and I was mistaken. Okay. This is our last bundle. So the same thing with this last bundle. Once you get it on, oh, I want to put it this way. That way, I want to put it this way. I had it on this way. I want to put it this way. That way it kind of looks the same as this end. How it's got the burlappy looking foil mesh there. So it matches on both ends. Sometimes you have to finagle to get all the mesh where it needs to be. So when you get that done, we're going to go ahead and tie that off. But this part here will stay once we get this all arranged the way it needs to be. See, it's starting to take its shape, just needs a little finesse. This will go ahead. If you leave this on, you won't be able to see it after we get all of our mesh taken care of, but we're going to cut away this piece right here. We won't need this. We'll just need this part here to help this part here to support the mesh. Sorry, this part, just clip it off, throw it away. Or I guess if you have something else you want to do with it. All right, let's see if we can get this all kind of arranged to where it's doesn't look like a disaster area. Again, I'm going to go ahead and take that stem, the full-sized one, run it through. Just twist it. It doesn't really want to be, it doesn't seem to want to be tight. We'll just tie it off. It doesn't really matter where you tie off. I mean, as long as it's got enough support to hold it in place. Just make sure that when you pull it through, get it tight. So now we've got our shape. We've got everything in the back. It's kind of funny. These wreaths look super, to me they look very pretty and very, more, I don't know, elegant, I guess, than just some of the other wreaths that I've made in the past. And the funniest thing is you're working with, that's it. That is all this wreath consists of. It is extremely easy. It's an easy wreath to make. It looks pretty when it's done. And I've made several. I've made the farm. I made the campers. And then I've made the bunny butt. I've posted on some sites. Hopefully some of the people that have asked me to do a video to help them learn how to do this wreath will see this, and hopefully it'll help them out and they can start building their own. Okay, so we've basically got our general shape and we've got what you want. The next thing we're gonna do is our ribbon bundles. Our ribbon bundles I pre-cut, so that way we could save time because we are pushing 30 minutes already. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ribbons total. The polka dot ribbon is cut at 12 inches. The purple ribbon, or the yellow ribbon is cut at 11. The purple is cut at 10. The multicolored is also cut at 10. The white bunnies is cut at 9, and the yellow gingham with the lace is cut at 8. So basically cut them however you want to finish the ends. If you want to finish them this way, or if you just want to slant them, however you want to do it. I do always go back with a lighter, and you can see some of the places, I don't know if you can see it, where some of the finish edge has kind of come loose. I just go ahead and kind of singe those strings a little bit, so hopefully they don't fray and look messy. I mean, again, it's kind of like the mesh. At some point it's going to fray no matter what you do. So, but see how this is all fuzzy looking? I don't know if you can see it. I just go ahead and kind of get rid of that fray, kind of burn it down. There's probably a more professional way to do this. I'm self-taught from watching videos and just playing, so definitely not a professional. I just get lucky sometimes and things work out the way I want them to. So after your ribbon's cut, you do your ends however you want to do it. I always fold mine in half. That way I know where the center point is of the ribbon, so I know where I want to scrunch. And again, this ribbon was cut at 12 inches. And you just take and scrunch from one side to the other. And pinch it in the center. I always go back and try and get them to lay the way you want to now, because once they're in that stem, it's harder to get them the way you want and tied off in the bundle. Make sure how I did that. The yellow is cut at 11. Again, you just scrunch it in the center. I just lay mine. I was trying to see how I did the other bundle that way. I kind of do it the same. You can do them all on top of each other. However you want to do it. I mean, everybody has a different preference. If you don't like bright ribbon, you want more pastel, whatever you want. You can, this wreath's pretty easy to convert to whatever you want it to be. And the purple is cut at, it's not cut at, it is cut at 10. I just keep laying them on top, just putting my finger there to hold them. This ribbon is really flimsy. All of this ribbon also came from Michael's. It was about, it was it's celebrated ribbon. See it? It says it's $3.99 a roll. I picked it up today. It was 40% off at Michael's. Actually, all the ribbon came from, for this wreath came from Michael's today. And it was all 40% off. Hands aren't working the best today. All right, and the last one. For my ribbon bundles, I always use a full stem. That way it gives you room to tighten it around. Oh, that looks bad. The bundle, and then it gives you plenty of the tie to send through the mesh to hook it to the back of the frame. Again, you just pull it up in the back like so. Get it as tight as you can. Pull it up, pull it as tight as you can. And then you just arrange it how you want it. This one has a patterned ribbon, so you know, make sure when you put it in your wreath that, well, I mean, if you want your bunnies pointing down, I guess to each your own. Everybody has a different vision. Everybody has a different idea of what they want their wreath to look like. I kind of think that you do what you want, and if people don't like it, they don't have to look. So believe in yourself, trust your vision. Not everybody's gonna like everything you do, and I can tell you, some people just aren't gonna like it because they're just not gonna like it. Okay. Hi, sweetheart. I always try to figure out which side I want to be my top before I put my ribbons in, just so I can kind of know where I'm looking to put my sign. I want this part to be my top. It's fuller and it seems like it's got, see, I don't know. I just like this top part here more than I like the other side. I said you can do either one. I don't know. Personal preference. The more you work with things and the more wreaths you make, you kind of figure there's always an upside and a downside to every wreath. One side's the top, one side's the bottom. What is going on here? Okay. I usually try and put my bundles right in this area here where it kind of comes down from that curve. See where this area is here, where it's kind of open? You can put your bundles wherever you want. You can put ribbon, you can put your ribbons in the actual mesh bundles if you want, in each one. It's completely up to you. Okay, so which side did I decide? This is the top. Okay, so I'm going to put this first ribbon bundle. Make sure my bunny's going the right way. Okay, I'm going to put this ribbon bundle right here. Just dig down in that mesh so you get where you can get into the rungs or get your ribbon in around those rungs. There we go. I should have used a different color so you guys could see it better than white. Okay. Just pulling it through the back. And then just kind of position it the way you want. Turn that bundle so it's sitting the way you want it. And then just pull it down into there, into the wreath. Pull it down so the stem is tight in the back. Once you've got it tightened down, clip it off. And then you can just move your bundle around until you get it positioned the way you wanted to get down in there a lot. So you can turn it and you can always go back and adjust it. I end up going back and adjusting it about 25 times before I'm happy with it most days. Okay. And so I'll do the same here. Sorry. My bunnies are up. Again, I'm just going to go try to poke my way through this mesh to get to the screen. If you go through you go around a bundle that's already in there, that's okay. It's going to tie off the same. It's not a big deal. Just get it through the back. Pull it through. Sorry, I've probably been working without you being able to see this. Once you get it kind of in there where you want it, like I said, just pull it tight in the back. Pull it down in there. Twist it off. Okay. And make sure your ribbons are, like I said, you don't want to smush down by the mesh. You want to pull them up and out to make sure that the sides are out and you get full view of your ribbons. Okay, now. Okay, and once you kind of get them where you want them, you get them all situated, you can go back and play with them later, do whatever you want. I pre-made my bow. I used the Celebrate ribbon. It took an entire roll to do this bow. I used 5 loops on each side. It's not double-sided, so you have to do the twist after each loop. I can show you guys that if you want, and if anybody wants to see another video. And again, you decide where you want it. You just stick it through your mesh till you get to the frame. Sometimes you can't see the frame. You can stick your hand in there and just move those mesh bundles around so you can get your pipe cleaner in there. There we go. I think we're finally coming through. Okay. Well, I lost one piece of my pipe cleaner. Okay, now we're through. And again, you're working on the same thing. You're always working on that center rung. You'll tie your bow off. Decide how tight you want it. And again, you're going to have to, after you get everything said and done, rearrange your ribbons and I'm just trying to make sure that my ribbons are out and above the mesh so that they lay so where you're seeing all of the ribbon and not pieces of ribbon obscured by mesh. Okay, so we're kind of getting there. Oh, we're upside down. We're getting to the So I think what we're gonna do, I think I'm gonna go ahead and instead of just setting and rearranging and picking at this while we're doing this for time's sake, I'm gonna go ahead and put the sign and stuff on so you can see that, and we'll worry about getting all the shape taken care of after we get that taken care of. So for this one, like I said, I took this sign, and cut the bottom part off and just kept the head. I pulled this off. I just used a little bit of, I took the hair dryer, got it warm. Be careful though, because this is actually paper. It's not wood. So if your hot glue isn't warm enough to release it, it'll probably rip the paper. Like I said, I just took and made my own bow to cover where I wanted it to cover, where the old one was. And then I took a piece of metal that was off of the actual garden stake that was from the farm, from the top barn piece. I cut it down and I used the rest of it on this. I just hot glued it to the back and again covered it with a piece of felt just to kind of, so it doesn't look like a big globs of hot glue back there. And what you do is right here where you decide where you want it in the center. Oh, I'm trying to do this backwards and it's not doing very well. You're just going to take and run it into that back where you want it to sit. Like that. And then we're going to take chenille stems and secure it around this metal piece of metal that it's on. Kind of decide how you want it. I want her face showing. Okay. All right. And it's going to be a pain in the behind until you get it cinched down good in a couple of different places. I am going to add hot glue just to keep it in place or help keep it in place. See, I'm working upside down here. Finally, maybe. And then go back and tighten these up now that you've actually got it all secured, so you can kind of keep it where you want. You can go back and tighten up all of them. Okay. I'm just using regular hot glue. Well, I would if I had a hot glue stick in there. I just add a little bit right around those stems to kind of keep it. Now, for one thing, I didn't get the stems very tight. I'm trying to hurry. For some reason, my glue stick always gets stuck, and I have to keep pushing it down. I don't quite understand. In that glue gun, it gets jammed up or something. Okay. We're going to let that dry for a little bit and make sure that it holds. Wiggle it up just a little bit. There we go. All right. I gotta wait for my hot glue to dry. Oh goodness. And I have hot glue on my finger, and that doesn't feel good at all. I don't know what I did with my little... These are just those little silicone things that you can use to keep your hot glue, kind of push your hot glue down without getting your finger burnt. I don't know, I kind of think it makes a bigger mess than it does anything, so. Okay, so we've got our sign in. It's not 100% dry, but we know what we're going for here. And then we'll just hook our carrots to the bottom for the sign. But I did get some really cute carrots today from Michael's. Super cute. So we can run them through here. You can hot glue them in if you don't want to use a chenille stem and hook them to the frame. However you want to arrange it, whatever you think looks good. Everybody has a different idea of what looks good, what doesn't. I can't work backwards. Oops. I'm a big tulip person. Anybody who's seen my wreaths, spring wreaths, almost all of them have tulips in them. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so I went ahead and I bought these tulips weeks ago. They've been on sale. They're usually like $3.99 at Michael's. They've been on sale for, I don't know, the last month for $1.99 a bunch. I just went ahead and cut off some stems and then replaced the bloom, so they were multicolored, so it wasn't just the same colored flowers. And just push them in wherever you want to make whatever kind of, I mean, everybody's got a different idea of what they think is pretty and what they don't. Just stick them in there, and for one thing, we need to cut the stems. It's too long. Well, just kind of put them in there however you want. If you even want flowers, you don't have to use flowers if you don't want to. You don't have to use anything else. You get the idea. After I get done with this, I'll go in and clean it up and get everything put in where I wanted. I just wanted to give you guys the kind of idea of how they're made and how they get that shape. Like I said, I can go back in here later. I also bought some really cute eggs. Oh, here they are. If we didn't want to do flowers, we could just do the eggs. Or you could even do the eggs here if you wanted. However you want to do it to make it look the way you want. These were also these little eggs. I don't know if I'll leave these on here in the final, what I decide to do with this wreath after we get done with this. But these were bought at Michael's as well. They were 99 cents, and they were also 40% off today. And like I said, if you want to add eggs, or if you don't want to add anything, I kind of just like the carrots and the rabbit. Ribbons. Okay. And then we'll just add, like I said, our bunny sign to the bottom. I'm just going to take a chenille stem, run it through up here. Kind of make sure it's in the center so your sign hangs level. Oh, my bunny's not sitting right. And then again, just pull it through your back. Make sure that's hanging the right way. Depending on how far down you want it to hang, you can decide which one you want to put it on. Sorry, I know you can't see that. I'm all over the place. Okay. So this is rough. I mean, I need to go back and fix it to where, you know, all my design is the way I want it. But and get my sign or my bottom sign anchored down so it stays in place. But that's it. That is the wreath made on the Dollar Tree cooling rack. Um, I hope this helped you guys. I know it's rough. It was the first one I've done, excuse my language there. Hopefully it helps you. Those of you who ask for help on the Dollar Tree sites and those places, please feel free to contact me, private message me. However, if you have questions, don't understand, couldn't see, because I think there were plenty of times where you probably couldn't see what I was doing because I wasn't paying attention to where my position was with the iPad. So again, this is the Dollar Tree cooling rack wreath. If you have any questions, private message me, and hopefully if you like it, maybe I'm thinking about doing the farm. Maybe you'll be a little bit more prepared and go a little bit quicker and faster. Thank you guys, and I greatly appreciate it.